Radical. Welcome to Flea Market Stories, documenting one man's journey into the world of flea marketing. Before I get into flea market stories, I have a dilemma. I just got a new headlight in my Chevy Impala, and now I can tell it's noticeably brighter than the left headlight. Now, you might say, well, of course, go get yourself another headlight. I don't like being wasteful. And they're pretty easy, simple to put in, so I would rather just go ahead and maybe get another headlight, and just keep this one until it burns out. Because I'm going to always have one good headlight. And in a scenario where both of them would go out, I just, pull over at night. But I have daytime running lights, so usually, I'm driving around during the daytime. But yeah, it's not a big time dilemma. Headlight bulbs are not actually that cheap these days. They're upwards of like 20, 30 bucks a bulb, depending on what you get, There's a separate headlight story I could actually do. Welcome to Headlight Stories now. But I'm going to stick to the flea market stories. I'm glad that I'm not doing these every single week because honestly, there's not a lot of interesting things that happen every single week. But sometimes I like to talk about the interesting instances that happen and interesting customers. Okay, so there's two customers I haven't seen in a while, but I would like to call this one, the DvD whale. Maybe there's something else my best DvD customer, I will call her. She's about 65 years old. She told me she was 65 years old. And it's a pair. Her son was there also, right? So her son was looking at stuff. He got, I think, some CDs. And what the hell is that? There's a big bug in here. That's a harmless, like a water bug or something like that. I'm recording live on location in my Chevy Impala. I usually do these recordings right when I get home from work, and then I go on to, getting ready for the flea market on the weekend. But he got some CDs. Kenny Rogers were some of the CDs he got. Then he left, and then he came back with his mother, and then I noticed who they were. Good customers. But I was not prepared and ready for what this 65-year-old woman would do. She spent so much time looking through every single one of my DVDs and all the trays, and I have a lot, right? So she's going through all the trays, and I was just like, I was secretly like grinning like, man, she's gonna buy some stuff. Yes, she is. DVDs don't get a whole ton of attention really, but from her, yeah. So she was going through all the DVDs. She was picking up DVDs, showing her son, oh, that one. She's in that movie, and then that one. And she knew more about some of these movies than I was like, I had no idea who's in that movie. And she assumed that I knew a lot about the movies. And I'm like, I just mostly sell them, I don't know a lot about who's in that, who's in that. So she was like making basically a pile. She's like, oh, I want that. I want that. I want that. I was like, damn, I should have brought more movies. But you never know who's going to show up. There's also another couple. Well, not, father, mother and son, but also married couple, older couple. And I missed them the other day. They literally walked by the table and I wasn't even set up and everything. They're good for about $20, $25 in movies. Now, I forget exactly how much she got in the movies, but once she was done picking through the movies, she had her eye on a lot of the Christmas stuff I had. And the Christmas stuff, it got kind of sad for a moment because she said some of the Christmas stuff she would like to take to the graveside of her, deceased husband, ex-husband. Well, not ex-husband, but, ex. Technically, yes, an ex because he's no longer here. But what do you call, like, just deceased husband? I mean, it's a simple word for it, I know. Like, I've never been married, but, what the hell? What the fuck? What is that word? Doesn't that bother you when there's, like, a simple word and you know what it is and, like, it'll just pop up and you're like, you're so fucking stupid. I'm like having a Herschel Walker moment. What that word is. Widow! There you widower. There we go, widow, okay. And of course I gave her a deal on the Christmas stuff. And there was some kind of a switch back and forth because I said, well, I tell you what, I kind of want that right there because there was something I would wanted to sell a little bit more than, a buck. But I said, I'll give you an extra one of these dollar items, right? She, I think, got a Dolly Parton CD. And then I brought up like 9 to 5. Have you ever saw that movie 9 to 5? I was just making conversation. And she was like, yes, I did. And this is the point where things got a little creepy, right? Creepy. She said, the thing about that movie is, the thing that you might like is there's a whole lot of cleavage in that movie. Maybe she was thinking about the best little hoe house in Texas, I believe. But then I'm just kind of like cringing, like, uh-huh. And she said, like, me personally, I think I just need to, cover up a little bit. I'm like, and I could say, listen, if it wasn't for Dolly Parton's bubbers, she would not, I don't think she would be where she is right now. That's two big parts of her appeal. Okay? Don't get angry, Dolly Parton fans. Okay? Don't get angry. She's a very talented person, definitely a talented singer, media mogul, all that stuff. I mean, she has a freaking theme park. But how much of her success is because she has a giant chest? You discuss that in the comment section down below. How much of a lot of female successes in the world is because they happen to have a giant chest? It doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt. Would she still be successful without the chest? Sure. But not, I think, on the level of a household name that, she is. And they are. One thing I want to add in here, I almost forgot to mention, was absolutely hilarious, is this was a mama's boy. Because when he's looking through some of the movies, he stops for a second, and then he doesn't pay right away. He looks at me dead ass and says, before I buy this, I have to go get my mother. Oh, man, poor fella. I mean, like, how's that go? Like, does he not have a job? Or I'm not sure how that works. Is he going back to, like, beg his mother to, buy some movies for him? Mommy, mommy, mommy. Mommy, mommy, mommy. I want these movies. That's just so freaking funny, because she's like 65. She mentioned she was 65. Also, she mentioned she was 65, but she doesn't look it. And then, if I was being a jerk, I could say, well, I mean, ma'am, you look more like 75. But I'm not going to say that. That's what I was thinking. She had like a walker out, and I'm thinking like, man, Samuel L. Jackson, he's like 65 or something like that, and he's walking around. This woman had a lot of medical issues. She was wearing a mask, so maybe she looked younger, like under the mask. But I was thinking to myself, well, I was just thinking, I wasn't saying that loud, like, well, ma'am, actually, you look about 75. Generally, you never want to do that. Even if you're thinking it. Doesn't matter if a woman's 35, 45, 55, 65. Even if you're thinking it, don't ever mention that if you want any A, money, or any B, honey from the female.